Welcome back to IDV24. We are streaming this live from Las Vegas. And guess what? We have amazing interviews all throughout the event. I'm your host. My name is Ron Eddings. And with me, my special guest is Chris Meyer, who is the Senior VP of Sales at IntelliCheck. What's going on, Chris?
Hey, Ron. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for jumping on. Thanks for spending a few minutes with us. I wanted to start by getting to know more about your background or even the things that you do. Like, you see so many salespeople, especially at events like this, but I'm sure a lot of people wonder, where are the responsibilities, especially if someone that's a VP of sales?
Yeah, no, again, thanks, Ron, for having us. So I've been with IntelliCheck 9 years. So took over the role of SVP of Sales 2 years ago. And really my responsibilities, we're an ID verification company. My responsibilities is everything when it comes to the sales organization. So I lead a team of about 9 to 10 strong other sales reps. And day to day the responsibility is to go out and take care of existing customers through those big relationships we have, but also going out and, working with other potential customers to help them through their, what they're trying to do and their fraud strategies and how they're going to deploy ID verification in the space.
It's all about being an advisor, a trusted partner. That's what I love about sales, and especially in the cyberspace. I feel like sales is what powers and promotes and gives the opportunity for people to leverage and adopt these solutions.
Yeah, and you use that word, trusted advisor. I've always said no one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. Going in, there's not one solution, especially in this space. There's not one solution fits all. A lot of times it's understanding that customer's unique strategies, what their issues are, what are the challenges they're being attacked with, and helping them come up with what's the right strategy to put in place.
So in what way is IntelliCheck a trusted advisor? Tell me a little bit about the company.
Yeah, so we're one of those companies that have been around for a very long time. We've been around 27 plus years. We got our start defending military bases and federal agencies. Because of that, we were introduced to the DMVs and the organizations the DMVs are part of. We, again, are an ID verification company. So what we do is make sure that ID presented, whether it's in person or whether it's digital online, is real. And then what we help our customers with is once you can confirm that ID is real, now is there any reason why you should or should not trust doing business with that person? So we've shifted from all the military and federal agencies. Now we work with most of the larger top banks and credit issuers here in the country. Most of the major retailers here in the U.S. use us, and it's because we deploy a very different process of ID verification. We can verify a North American document in less than a second. We do it with such accuracy that it's trusted by law enforcement agencies all across the country. Instead of them calling in for dispatch, they use us in the field. Stunning.
Yeah. When I think of financial institutions, the first thing that comes to my mind when I think of identity is fraud. I'm sure there's a lot of that financial institutions are trying to protect against. So from your vantage point, especially from IntelliCheck, what is the current state of fraud and identity?
Yeah, that's a great question, because right now it's really about this tiptoeing this line of onboarding new customers, because that's everyone's goal is to try to get as many new customers as they can, but also while keeping the bad guys out. Because of some of the traditional ways of doing fraud prevention, what happens is the criminals are using data that's real data. And so financial institutions or retailers are being forced to utilize that same data for their traditional checks. What it's causing is a lot of issues where someone's really who they say they are, but the strategy says, oh no, we don't trust them. And so you're losing new customers while at the same time they're still letting bad guys who are impersonating customers through the door. So right now it's all about how to deploy the right amount of friction and provide still an amazing customer experience that you're not going to lose customers, but actually help you convert more customers, as you go through the process.
I would love to unpack that a little bit more, right? Like you said, it's about providing some friction. Hopefully it's not experienced by users or customers, but looking at what can financial institutions do to get around having fraud in their environment. What is your recommendations there?
Yeah, it's really deploying the right strategies. Again, that this all started years ago with the amount of data that's available on the dark web now through all the data breaches. I mean, just last year alone, there's over 3,000 data breaches, over 350 million records, again, exposed on the dark web. I think this year we all heard about the big carrier, wireless carrier, 73 million records.
Yep.
There's a big healthcare provider that a third of all Americans PII. So it's not really, okay, if our data is going to be leaked online, it's who's going to use it and what are they going to try to do with it. So because of all that data, criminals now have the ability to impersonate someone. All they have to do is go online the dark web, they buy someone's identity, usually less than $30. They have your name, social security number, date of birth, your account information, balances, and then they order a fake ID that has your info, but it's their picture. And now they're impersonating you to open an account or an access account. So right now for what we help our clients with is eliminating the friction, first of all, because you can't just rely on the same data sources and the same fraud strategies that were used 5 years ago, because the criminals are using. They know that.
Yeah.
And it's like they have the key to the book, to the test book. They know what's being utilized and they know how to attack it. So we help our customers in a way by providing a frictionless experience. It's not using the traditional ID verification, but it also helps them convert more customers. Our customers see an increase of anywhere from 20 to 25% increase on new account openings, where most, when they deploy ID verification, are seeing a reduction because they have such abandonment through the process. So we help our customers get more new customers, but we also help them keep the bad guys out at the same time.
Put the friction on the adversary end.
That's exactly right. And that's what we love to say. Hey, if you're going to put friction anywhere, put it on the bad guys.
Yeah.
Because they don't like it when they can't get through.
Right.
So don't put the friction. Don't make your customers feel like bad guys at the end of the day.
When you look at conferences nowadays for cybersecurity or even technology as a whole, one cornerstone is always artificial intelligence. And speaking of friction, I think that AI reduces friction for many people, including the adversary, but also for us. When you look at things like fraud, how does AI fit into that from an attacker, but also a defender standpoint?
That's, again, a solid point, because this AI is being, it's one of those now catchphrases that everyone's discussing. It's almost, I won't say it's a fear-mongering, because it's true, but if you're not relying on just, again, inadequate fraud strategies, AI isn't going to be as impactful. It helps the fraudsters, but it only helps them when you're deploying fraud strategies that they're hoping you deploy.
Right.
It does allow them to make their job easier, where it used to be, hey, to impersonate someone, they had to order an ID from online, and then it got shipped from overseas. Now, granted, they ordered that ID for less than $100, but now they can just literally in their living room have that ID instantly, because they have it AI generated where it looks like a valid document. But again, there's strategies to deploy that includes, things with biometrics, not just facial biometrics, but passive data sets where, hey, where's that transaction taking place? Let us know about the device. Let's know about the IP. Is the customer application showing that, hey, they're supposed to be in Iowa, but it shows it's taking place in Hong Kong?
Right.
The device looks suspicious. The device has a SIM card swap. There's all these things that can be done that even AI can't conquer right now. But again, it's about understanding what's the current process, not only for onboarding new customers, but a lot of times criminals use the contact call centers of organizations, or they're using ways to make changes to accounts. Well, we have a lot of our clients that they use this for both, for new account opening, but also account takeover attempts, which is growing dramatically. Account takeover is the fastest growing area of fraud in the country, because when you think about new account opening, someone has to go through a credit application process. There's a credit history that's pulled, all that. If it's account takeover, they're just saying, yes, I have an account, and all they usually ask for is your name and your driver's license. And now you have access to someone's account to change email, to change passwords. So that's a much easier path for fraudsters to take, again, if there's inadequate fraud strategies being deployed.
So please tell me that, if someone bought my personal information, my social, my first name, last name, address, is there an additional charge for my driver's license, or is it still at that $30 mark?
So to buy the data, it's very inexpensive for them.
Yeah.
To now be armed with what they need to use that data to impersonate you, that's where all they do is they order an ID, either through AI or through an actual physical. I have a pocket full of fake IDs because we have law enforcement agencies all across the country that use us. These fakes fool law enforcement. They look that good. They scan. They pass the traditional photo upload,
Yes.
all that. And the thing about facial biometrics is, well, if the ID passes and the selfie is just a picture of the criminal, that's going to pass too normally.
Yeah.
So again, it goes back to utilizing other fraud strategies that are more verifying with more accuracy that ID to begin with is genuine. That's what we do.
So I think anyone that's watching this right now, whether they're a cybersecurity practitioner or on the fringes of cybersecurity, wants less fraud in their
Of
life,
course.
in their organization. What's one piece of advice that you'd have for anyone to get one step better at fraud protection?
Yeah, I mean, what we try to work with our clients is really walking through. First of all, you got to understand what's the root cause of fraud. So much of the time, it's almost like a whack-a-mole approach that organizations deploy where, hey, this is happening, so we just need to implement something to handle that instead of going back to what's the root cause? Why is this taking place?
Yep.
Again, I don't think enough education has been, made to the public about where the data breaches, the damage that's being done, how that data is being used. Criminals depend on that because they know, hey, you're not utilizing, they know the information they're utilizing, but they also know most organizations are being reactive instead of proactive. When you can sit down with a customer and you can help them create a proactive strategy that's really understanding where's the issue coming from, but then before they get attacked,
Yeah.
now you're helping them build strategies that is really building a wall of protection that is critical for them to stop fraud, but at the end of the day, it's also to protect their customers because when these things happen, yeah, the institution or the retailer or whoever it is, they have fraud losses. But there's also a customer who's impacted because someone impersonated them and then did damage to their actual credit, to their actual, account information. That's stuff that, because when that happens with a customer, they have a tendency to leave because they go, no, I trusted you,
Yeah.
and it didn't work out. There's damage on both sides for these companies.
Looking at something like IntelliCheck, with everything you're describing, it sounds very interesting because, like like I said, we want to decrease fraud and by any means necessary.
Sure.
I'm sure people have come to you at Identiverse and asked, about your organization. What's typically the aha moment or the moment that people are really sprung into action to say, I need this product?
Yeah, so it's happened multiple times at our booth where everyone in our space, and again, I've done this 9 years for IntelliCheck, so I'm pretty aware of what everyone else does and their story. Everyone else has the same story. We like to show, while we can do all those things, let me show you what we do different. And that's usually the aha moment because when they go, oh, wait a minute, that was it? Less than half a second is all you needed to make sure that was real or not? That's something they haven't seen before. And that's usually the aha moment when you can get them to watch, because then they start going, that's all my customer's going to have to do?
Yeah.
That's a better experience than what the gates, and I almost think of it like the old where, hey, you got to walk through the fire pit, you got to go through the rocks that are falling down. That's what most systems are built on. A lot of protection, but it's a slippery slope for a customer to try to navigate through. We eliminate all that by doing what we do.
Being VP of Sales, I'm sure one outcome that you're hoping for out of this conference is relationships.
Sure.
Meeting new people, having opportunities come up. Outside of that, what are you looking forward to most at Identiverse 2024?
Yeah, it's really been conversations like this in thought leadership. Again, my big belief is, hey, as a whole, criminals are highly organized. I don't think everyone's really aware how organized they are. They're very organized. They're organized with the data they share. They're organized with the strategies that they deploy to attack multiple, organizations. It's really about providing thought leadership and conversation that, hey, we've got to start working together. And again, there's not one solution that's going to solve everything. It's everyone coming together and going, hey, we've got to work together to build strategies where everyone's going to have their own independent strategies. You've got to start being aware of really what's taking place, how we're being attacked, and then how to get ahead of the fraudsters in a proactive approach versus a reactive approach at the end of the day.
I think that's what it's all about. It's all about community. It's all about just building relationships through conversations just like
Exactly
this.
right.
For anyone that wants to stay up to date with Chris and IntelliCheck, I got a very special link for you. It is securityweekly.com/IntelliCheck IDV. That's INTELLICHECK IDV. Got the spelling there for you. We would love for you to stay up to date with IntelliCheck and Chris. Chris, thank you so much for spending a few minutes with me. Also coming to Identiverse. It was an honor and pleasure to speak to you. And with that, we will see everyone next time.